Welcome everyone to Marked Out once again. It's the Halloween season, and so I just kind of wanted to think with that mask in mind about the strangest wrestling gimmicks of all time. Some that I marked out for when I was young, and some that I just didn't care for. And some were kind of scary. I mean, they actually worked. They couldn't perform in the ring, but the gimmicks, they scared the hell out of me. One of them, I was a grown man for, was the Boogeyman. The Boogeyman, not the best worker in the world. A guy that eats worms, dances to this Boogeyman. It's like a common day Papa Shango, I guess it was kind of. That's basically what it was. I'm the Boogeyman, and I'm coming to get you. And then, the whole voodoo, whatever. Strange gimmick. I guess it sold over pretty well. He comes back every now and again for weird appearances, but definitely one of the strangest ones. Papa Shango, which we just alluded to, was definitely one that actually did scare me, and I was a kid when that happened. And Papa Shango, he would make like the turnbuckle smoke, and people would like throw up after their match with him. And then like one time the Ultimate Warrior had tar coming from his head, so he did all this voodoo shit. Could never win a match, but I mean the gimmick was over as hell. I was scared. Damien Demento didn't last very long. He actually reminds me of a guy I used to work for. He used to talk to himself a lot and just kind of wander. Looked like Jesse the Body Ventura with like half of his wrestling skills and none of his charisma, but hey, Damien Demento, we'll always remember the jacked up wannabe version of the Road Warrior. And then of course Kevin Nash's favorite gimmick of all time, and he's had several, Oz. Who can forget the wonderful Wizard of Oz? One of my favorite shows growing up, one of my least favorite characters in pro wrestling history. I watched the NWA a lot when I was younger, before I got into WWF at that time. And this was something that made me want to change a channel. And at that time, you could change the channel and it wasn't that big of a deal. WCW hadn't made its big mark yet. But in terms of Oz, that was definitely one of the strangest and probably worst gimmicks of all time. The next one on my list is the Giant Gonzales. Now everyone remembers him from NWA as El Gigante. Pretty decent sized, 8-foot tall guy. Everyone was like, oh, what an attraction, weird. Then he comes to WWF and grows fur all over himself, and he wears a bodysuit. So you're like, the hell? And I don't know. Anyway, didn't last long, thank God. The next one was the Shockmaster. Now everyone remembers Tugboat, everyone remembers Typhoon, everyone loved or hated them in the WWF days, but then he went to WCW, put on a Star Trooper mask, glittered it all out, go girl, and that was probably the worst thing that he ever did in his life. And he probably admits to that too. I think he had one match after the thing fell off when he came through the door and the wall, and it just didn't work. I think he had one match with it off. Everyone knew it was Typhoon, and they were like, we've already seen you before. Shockmaster wasn't so shocking. Then there's Bastion Booger. Who can ever forget the pro wrestling Booger? It was like George the Animal Steele had a kid. If you guys remember George the Animal Steele, Bastion Booger, that was definitely one of the most oddest characters in pro wrestling history. Never can forget him. Kiss Demon was the savior for WCW to finally beat the WWE in the ratings. No, not at all, actually. Kiss, in the association with WCW, they brought the band in, they performed on Nitro, then they decided to have a wrestler gimmick after their band, and Del, I'm sorry, dude, you sucked. Then there was the Battle Cat. Now, anybody that's grown up from my era knows the Masters of the Universe and knows the Battle Cat was He-Man's #1 stallion or steed or whatever you want, his trusty sidekick. But when the Battle Cat became a pro wrestler and he wore a furry little mask and he wore the neon tights and everything, yeah, let's save that for what it's for. And nothing against that scene, but dude, you're a pro wrestler. Kitty Cat's not over. Then the next one was Max Moon, and this is my last one on the list. Now, originally it was Conan in the Max Moon getup, which was like a spaceman that had like colorful hair and shot out streamer, and it was like a cross between Johnny B. Bad and a Power Ranger, a blue Power Ranger. Yeah, it just wasn't it. I mean, I don't know what the whole gimmick was. I mean, some of these gimmicks, when they're supposed to be wrestlers, it just never does quite make sense. I guess maybe that's the reason why they last all of 1 or 2 months. But anyhow, that was my top 10 strangest wrestling gimmicks in professional wrestling. Hope you enjoyed them. I know I left out a lot, but you know, to narrow it down in a few minutes, that was basically it. So it's Halloween time, and I wanted to get you guys in the mood, and I wanted to mark out over some of the greatest, strangest wrestling gimmicks of all time. So with that being said, this has been a Rebel in the Box Productions. Red Scorpion Mike Martinez says, see you next time on Marked Out. Hope you enjoyed our list. Take it easy.